Lately, a lot of people have found that there is a third wheel, you might say, in their relationship. I'm talking about their phones. And our next guest says it's time to break up with our phones. I would love to do that. Catherine Price is a renowned health and science journalist whose work focuses on the effects of screen time on our bodies and our minds. And she's also the author of the best-selling book, How to Break Up with Your Phone. This Valentine's Day, she's here to help us figure out how our love affair with phones is actually a bad romance, an abusive relationship, and we should all run away. Great to have you here. What a great revenge on the phone to sell 150,000 copies and get rich with this, a book, telling people to break up with their phone. Why do you think the book's been such a hit? We both love it.
I think that people intuitively know that something about their relationships with their phones doesn't feel right. So even though the phone is an amazing tool, it's also getting in the way of our most important relationships and the things that bring us joy and meaning in our normal lives.
You really break down the science behind how phones affect us. And you focus on dopamine. Of course, we get those dopamine hits when we check the phones. But you say that dopamine does not equal happiness. What is actually happening when we're going to our phones?
Well, dopamine's purpose as a brain chemical is just to tell our brains when something's worth paying attention to and doing again. So anytime you do something and there's a dopamine trigger in it, you're going to want to repeat that behavior. And so I think one thing people need to understand about our most time-sucking apps is that their goal is to get us to spend our time and attention on them because it's how they make money. And they do that by packing their apps with dopamine triggers that get us to come back for more. And it's pretty nuts to think about the fact that the machine with the biggest similarities to our phones is the slot machine.
Yeah, absolutely. And
so we're just like,
yes.
all day.
Well, you can even think about it. You wait to see if the icons line up on the slot machine. On the phone, you wait to see if you've got a new message or a new notification.
Totally.
It's the same thing.
Totally. But so what I think is so remarkable about the book is it's not about throwing your phone under a bus and then moving to the country and churning your own butter. It's about realizing that there's bad aspects to this relationship. And just as you would break up with a person, but they might still be a friend or in your community, the phone is going to be there, just not center.
Exactly. It's more like a friends with benefits situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Not that I would know. So, moving on. So, you actually give people a plan for how they can do this. You and your husband tried this at first. You called it a digital Sabbath. You gave 24 hours where you put the phone away. At first, you probably felt like this, but by the end, you were loving it. So how can people do this at home?
Well, the digital Sabbath is just a 24-hour break from your phone, which I recommend trying well, it's Friday. Do it tonight. It's Valentine's Day. If you're going out on a date with a loved one.
I love that.
Then put your phone away, leave it at home, and actually connect with the person. But what I realized when I was writing the book is I wanted to create an actual solution. So there's actually a 30-day plan in the book that walks you through the steps of this phone breakup with the goal of ending the challenge with a healthier relationship with your phone.
Are you accosted by people at parties on the street that see you know the book and say you've changed my life?
I don't think I've reached that level of
really
yet, but I do hear from people. Like right now, I'm running a challenge on my Substack, and I hear from people about how the book has changed their lives, and that is deeply meaningful to me. So yeah, I have.
There's a statistic at the beginning of the book where you say people check their phones 144 times a day.
I'm sure it's more for me.
Isn't that crazy? Talk to us about what parents should do to help their kids, right? Because this is affecting our youth, it's affecting kids.
Yes, so the question of what to do about kids is a huge one, and I've actually begun collaborating with Jonathan Haidt, the author of The Anxious Generation, and his team.
Yeah,
wonderful.
He was on our show.
Yeah, he's wonderful, the team is wonderful. So I agree with John that we should be trying to delay access to smartphones and social media for as long as possible, at least 16 for social media, at least high school, if not longer, for smartphones. But what I say to parents is that there's actually a roadmap you can follow here. Delay when your kids are young, and then when your kid needs access to something to communicate with you when they're leaving the house, get them a basic phone, like a flip phone that's a family loaner phone that doesn't belong to anybody, that they take and give back. Then when you feel that they do need a phone of their own, don't go to a smartphone. Go to a smartphone alternative. You can find plenty online if you look. And those are like phones with training wheels for the internet.
Awesome.
And then finally, you can move on to the
Catherine
smartphone.
Price, you are our hero. The book is a bestseller, How to Break Up with Your Phone. Get it for yourself or someone you love.